Hey, it's Ken Rosengren with Lucido Global Team at Keller Williams Realty, and we're sitting here with Christina Keys. And I met her a while back, and then I got to know her and listen to her story, and I want to help her get her story out. She is with Loving Them Forward, and it's an amazing organization. And first, Christina,
Yes.
tell me who you are. Tell me a little about Loving Them Forward and what you do.
Okay. Well, my name is Christina Keys, and I am one of the founders and the president of Loving Them Forward. And Loving Them Forward is a nonprofit that is all volunteer based, and it helps family caregivers, professional caregivers, and seniors to find the resources they need, the education they need, the different support that they need, anything that you could possibly need on your caregiver journey. Because when we're taking care of our loved ones, we really want to make sure that their life is the best life possible, but we can't do that if we're not taking care of ourselves.
Okay.
So
when you're saying caregiver, you mean like if I'm taking care of my mom or my dad or my aunt or maybe even my child for hopefully not, but where they can't really do things on their own. You're talking about a caregiver. That's a caregiver in your eyes of the public and then the professionals as well, right?
Yes, because the professional caregivers are super important as well because one, they provide respite, very much needed respite for the family caregivers to take care of themselves. And they're also the front line that they can see what's going on in the home. They can see perhaps the family's struggling with they really need a new wheelchair because the current wheelchair is falling apart, but they know this family is really on a budget. And so if they're the front line and they're part of Loving Them Forward, they know to be able to refer out Caring Closet, which is a nonprofit that gives out free medical equipment to people in need in Vancouver. And, if they see that the family member isn't taking care of themselves, they can refer them to Loving Them Forward to be able to look at the Facebook page, look at the website, find some different articles they can read when they're sitting in the hospital, when they're, sitting in hospice, wherever they're at, learn things about 5-minute self-care. Because everybody says to a family caregiver, oh, you just need to take care of yourself. You just need to do self-care. And we immediately think, because I'm a family caregiver for my mom, but we immediately think, I don't have time for mani-pedis and sitting on the beach and reading a book anymore. And so what we do with Loving Them Forward, when we educate the family caregivers, we teach them about 5-minute self-care.
Okay.
And sometimes 5-minute self-care is just drinking a glass of water and sitting down to do it.
It's a recharge.
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes you're just talking about the recharge. Sometimes you're talking about going to the beach if it's possible. And other times you're really just talking about take the 5 minutes to get centered. And
yes.
Okay. Now, you told me an amazing story. Why Loving Them Forward? And I know this is going to get touching.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah.
But why? What's the drive behind this?
So my mother was she was and is this amazing independent woman. Amazing. She led a full life. She had a great career, very strong woman, very independent. And one day I was talking to her on the phone, and we were like best friends, and we were talking, and she was going to call me back, and she didn't call me back. And at 3:42 p.m. on March 16th of 2013, I got a call saying my mother had had a stroke and she wasn't expected to survive. And I went to the hospital, and my mother, she was in ICU. She was on life support. They had given her 1% chance to live. And for 30 days, they didn't know minute to minute, and I didn't know. And I lived in the hospital with her, and she didn't come off the life support for 12 days. When she did finally get out of ICU, she was paralyzed from the neck down. She couldn't talk anymore. She wound up being in the hospital for about 6 months, and she was able to learn how to talk. She was able to get her right side back, and now she's wheelchair bound. And sometimes she has speech problems, but not all the time. And she has a lot of other medical problems that have come with the stroke. And what happened in all of that was, so my mom was strong before she's even stronger now. The doctors, the neurologists, the epileptologists.
Daughter like mother.
Yeah, thank you. They all said, we don't know how you did this. You weren't even supposed to make it out of ICU. And she was determined to make her second chance in life as good as it could be. And So the first 4 years I really struggled because I didn't want to waste that second chance I had with my mom, and everything felt like life and death. And so what I did was I put my mom first, and I slowly but surely forgot about me, and I got sicker and sicker and sicker. I gained 100 pounds. I got diabetes, high blood pressure. By the end of 4 years, I was told not only by doctors that if I'd be lucky to make it 6 months, to live 6 months. I had 2 sets of friends very kindly and courageously try to do an intervention on, you got to take care of yourself. And I said, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. And something changed one day where I just realized that if I wasn't there for my mom, if I didn't take care of myself, I wouldn't be able to take care of my mom, and who would take care of her? And so what I did was I started with small steps and built my health back up. And through that, I had to change careers. I had a fabulous career in tech for 20 years, and I had to give that up because taking care of mom is very demanding. And I wound up getting a job in the senior and retirement industry,
Right.
and with flexible hours. And my job as a was to build referral partner relationships, was to build community and get our name out there. Well, every time I'd meet somebody that was a resource, I would, of course, be wearing the hat of my job, but most importantly, secretly, I was wearing my caregiver hat.
Right.
And I was asking myself, pardon me, would I let this person sit with my mom if she was having a hard time, if I had to walk out the room? Could this person sit with me when I haven't slept for a week? Because caregivers don't sleep, they're lucky if they get 10 hours a week sometimes. And, when I was scared if I sat down with you and you were going to be providing a service for my mother, it could be something like selling a house or helping us find a, aging in place home. But it would be life and death for me. And
Right.
So I was wearing that hat, and I was meeting all these people, and they give you these lists when you go to the hospital, and they give you, when you have, occupational therapy and physical therapy come to the house, they give you these lists, and you ask, what do you know about these people? And they don't know.
Right.
They don't know. And so you start calling through the list, and it's really overwhelming, and it's just too much, and you don't know the questions to ask. And so I started doing stuff for seniors, but also stuff for family caregivers, putting on senior resource and family caregiver fairs, doing classes on self-care and before, during, and after the funeral. And I was traveling with some great people who were also kind of in the caregiver situation as me. And we got together one day and we said, why don't we put a name to this? And why don't we help other family caregivers? Because I almost died. And I know that there are caregivers out there every single day struggling just to not even live, but to make it through the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it is horrible. I love my mother so much. The hardest part about it is every day watching her suffer. And so I want to do everything I can to make her life good. And so what came about was Loving Them Forward. And we expected it to be just a few of us traveling around, sharing the message of there's resources out there, everything from, pet care to real estate and lawyers, everything in between. Things like a mobile dog groomer. You have no idea what a lifesaver that is for a caregiver, right?
Oh, I bet.
And so, and then we started putting on the classes, and then we started bringing in a lot of the community partners that are resources as well. And I don't know what happened, but I know what happened is Clark County is the most amazing place, and Ventura is the most amazing place. And folks like yourself and the other partners that are part of Loving Them Forward, they have the biggest heart, and they know that it's important to save the caregiver. But traditionally, the caregiver is the invisible hero. They're the ones behind the scene.
Yep.
And so people are taking care of the senior, which I want them to. I want my mother should be treated like a princess. I'm just letting you know, right? I love her. And but if I'm not part of the team as a caregiver, if I'm not being taken care of as well, my mom doesn't stand a chance, right? And so so with that, it grew and grew. Our first location we grew out of, our second location we grew out of, our third location, I'm sure it's going to serve us for a while. And we have all of these people. And what's great about it, we have things like we're partnered with like Hope Dementia Group, Community Home Health and Hospice, Caring Closet, Adult Care Pro, Home Instead, people like that. What's great about that is that they bring a wealth of knowledge. They bring a wealth of knowledge to Loving Them Forward. And so they can share all the information about like caregiver burnout before, during, and after the funeral, things to be prepared for. The biggest thing about Loving Them Forward, though, here is and personally, the biggest thing about Loving Them Forward is I don't want my mom to ever feel like a burden. I don't want my mom to ever feel like she didn't raise me right. She raised me to be Pat Keyes' daughter. And I'm here to make her proud. And by me sharing that message, taking the storm that I've gone through and bringing light to it, that's what my mother would do. And everything I do, Loving Them Forward is nothing but a love letter to my mother. And every time we get another partner that comes in and helps the community, they just add another sentence to that love letter. And that's what I want. When my mom leaves, I want her to leave a legacy that she'll continue to help people and be able to love people.
Well, the legacy's already there because you've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
And I love the fact of the caregivers are the heroes. However, your company is the hero's hero because you're providing something that they need, the education, the support, and everything. So real quick, just 1 minute or so.
Okay.
What can the community do to help you?
Okay. The community, first of all, if you know a family caregiver, they hide out a lot because they're isolated. If you know a family caregiver or know somebody who knows a family caregiver, let them know about Loving Them Forward. If you know anybody who works with seniors, let them know about Loving Them Forward. Come to our events, share our events on Facebook, like our Facebook page, share that Facebook page because you never know who you're working with or you know that might see that and they might need that. Okay. You know, also, participate in our events, donate to the cause because everything we do, we're all volunteer. Every single dollar that is donated to Loving Them Forward goes straight to helping the family caregiver.
Perfect. So if you know somebody, let's just send me a message, send us a phone number. We're going to give you some contact information and we're going to go from there. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video and learn more about Loving Them Forward and Christina Keyes. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.